What's up, y'all, and welcome back to another installment of the greatest Tom Swift podcast out there. This is Decoding Tom Swift. This is a Carefree Black Nerd review over the most wonderful show on the CW that we have out there. It is Tom Swift. I am your co-host, Rhayne Coleman, the Carefree Black Nerd, and I have with me today, like I have had for several episodes in the past, and every episode of Decoding Tom Swift. Let these folks know who's on the mic with me today.
It's M. Haynes here to talk about the best black
Yes,
show
yes,
on CW,
yes.
one of the best on TV. Let's
Come on.
talk.
Come on. Yes, yes. So if you happen to stumble upon this episode or if you're an avid listener, viewer, welcome. This is Decoding Tom Swift. We are going over season 1, episode 6, and the benefits of bondage, which actually had a different name. Prior to it was in the Misbegotten Mustang. Now I'm not sure where or why the change happened, but I know for me, I've been preparing several episodes in advance, and when I got this one set up, it definitely said "and the Misbegotten Mustang." So I wonder if there's a lost episode because there wasn't no Mustang in here. That wasn't even a Mustang that kidnapped Tom. So I wonder what they got going on. But all that being said, in this episode, it says Tom finds himself stuck between a rock and a hard place. Meanwhile, Zenzi is is startled when a worried Isaac brings up a startling news about Tom. Um, mm-mm-mm. uh,
Mm.
so before general thoughts, at the end of the last episode, because if you've been listening, last recording was a bit different than the others. So the end of the last episode, Tom was kidnapped. Right at the end of the cotillion, he was abducted and fade to black. We open up immediately after. Well, not immediately, maybe like I don't know, an hour after that or something. How
Yeah.
are we feeling about this episode? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
That covers it.
Yes. Yes. Immediately. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Immediately,
Yes.
yeah.
Hard agree. This was some shit in all the best
Yeah.
ways. Oof, I'm saying, fast pace, high energy, high stakes, beautiful people, melanated,
Yeah.
gorgeous, glistening, moisturized folks in compromising situations, figuring out mysteries, and a history lesson to
Yes.
end all history lessons.
Yeah. And I really loved, and this may just be a me thing, but I really loved how it was focused. Like
Mm-hmm.
we didn't
Mm-hmm.
have a whole bunch of like subplots. It was like, okay, no, get back to the main thing. This is what I want to see. Like it was focused
Mm-hmm.
on one plot line. We followed that all the way through from different perspectives, yes, but like one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it made that one thing just that much better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Um, I loved it too. I was thinking about this episode and where it falls in the like ranking or even just the continuity and the aesthetic, all that those descriptive words of the whole season.
Hmm.
And this is an episode I think is worth the wait.
Hmm.
But it's not an episode that I would be like, watch this first. And it's not because it's not good, it's because we earned this fast paced,
Correct. Correct.
stressful roller coaster ride. We earned this from being from day one. I
Hmm.
um I truly enjoyed it, and I think that with doing the A Light in the Sky 4400 review show with Robert Jeffries, I come to find to like kind of realize that in every show, usually in every season, but at least in like one or two seasons, there's that one episode that really just stands out as a really good episode. Me and him
Hmm.
discuss one in detail. Go back and watch that, be linked in the show notes. But I think this episode is that one
Yeah.
where I don't know, we earned it. I'll say it.
Yeah.
We earned this episode. They did a good
Yeah.
job.
Like I said during the live tweeting, I was like, this is a mid-season finale. Like this is you've built up to this
Absolutely.
point, and this is your payoff for like all these questions that people have, like all this, like what is
Mm-hmm.
going on, like why are people behaving this way? Like this is the
Mm-hmm.
payoff for that. And I'm honestly kind of surprised that they said next week at the end of it. I was like, oh, I thought y'all finna take a break.
Hey,
Like,
you and me both. Yes.
I was like,
Yes.
y'all earned it. I was purely ready. I was ready.
Yeah. I've been ready to take a little vacation for a week. I'm glad we not, but I've been ready.
Correct.
Um, which you saying that really like has me even a little bit more confused because recent news about Tom Swift aside, this is a 10 episode season spanning 13 weeks. When are we getting a break? Like, is it after next episode or are we even getting a break? Are they just
I
gonna power
don't
through?
I don't know. With recent news, I don't know if that's the 13 weeks, 10 episodes of 13 weeks is no longer going to be a thing. So that's one.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. And then two, we're saying that it would have made sense to take a break after this because of how this one ended. There
Mm-hmm.
may be another episode, like episode 6, 7, whatever, that may
Yeah.
be like, oh, well, this is even, yeah, this makes even more sense to take a break.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh my god, I hate it. I can't. I'm excited for the show and I'm enjoying it, but I just can't escape that news. And I'm really hoping, if I can be emotional for a second, that this show, I don't know what the details are, but I hope that this show is just mm, put to another network. I hope another network is picking up this show because
It deserves it.
all of no, go ahead.
I just say it deserves it.
No, absolutely. 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 I feel about this show. Well, even like representation aside, it's just a good show.
Hmm.
And I think I'm going to come on the other side frustrated like I was with Deadly Class. Deadly Class is not it's representation. It's a whole nother beast. And I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the comic, I enjoyed the show. And when the show ended in season one on sci-fi the way it ended, I was like, this is an incomplete story. So I'm hoping that regardless to how episode 10 ends here, that we get a pickup somewhere else.
Wow.
I truly hope so. Yeah. That's my emotional outburst for the night. I'll try to rein it in. But this we Tom has been captured by the little clown in Saw or whatever. I don't know, or maybe Squid Game. I don't know what. Like I know what I've seen it, but like who knows what the hell is going on here? That man has been kidnapped and thrown into a warehouse with like
Hmm.
barbed wire and all this. Now, what I will say throughout all the trials of this episode, how do I say this? I don't want to sound rude. I did enjoy the setting. Because I feel
Hmm.
like with one, COVID being a thing, and then two, maybe not being able to fill out the cast as much as you could before then, and how easy it is to kind of slip into he's isolated, let's just put him in this white room. I feel like
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
setting fit the episode. It didn't feel like we're renting out this office space, just lock him in there.
Yeah.
um I kind of got the feeling of Olivia Pope that season that she got kidnapped and was like, I don't know, in the Middle East or something. I don't know where she was. I can't remember the details, but she had that newspaper. Her hair was all messed up. Like that's what I felt like. Man, are we? Is Tom? Wait. So,
Listen, I watch Scandal, the vast majority of Scandal, like in real time. And when I tell
mhm.
you that image of Olivia with her hair like blown out, racing towards the screen is seared
Bro,
into my memory.
bro, the way they shot that was criminal. That was not like what are we doing, Carrie? You deserve like it's not bad, but like Shonda, what is going on? So yeah. Yeah, but that's what I thought. That's the first thing that came to mind. I was like, that was done well, and I like the way they did this, especially with this being two different types of shows and knowing that this wasn't a 22 episode season. so we
Right.
weren't going to get a whole 4 or 5 episode arc of him locked up.
And
Um,
thank goodness, because we really didn't. We didn't need that.
Look, we got what we needed, and we
Mhm.
moved on. Speaking of what we needed, Isaac pops up on screen,
I.
and
Mm.
Ibaba Shando. So this man pops up, and oh, does that mean you don't hear that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Well, he pops up and he's on the phone. He's calling Tom. He's like, "Hey, I know your mama must have told you that I'd been fired and this, that, and the third. Um, but you need to be available. Like, I want to tell you what's up. I want to explain myself." And I was okay. Now this makes me question how much time has truly passed from the last scene when Tom is kidnapped, and now has it been an hour? Has it been 15 minutes? I know it hasn't been a day, but
Right.
I mean, but has it though? Because Isaac is in different clothes. Zenzi hair is different. I don't really want to get hung up on that because maybe it's just different. But nobody else found that watch but Isaac.
I mean, to be fair, this is a big ass property.
Yeah, no,
This is
you're
huge.
right. You're right.
Um, I got the inclination that I must say that it was at least sometime, maybe not the next day, but at least like an hour or more, because like I don't know, it was something about how because we found out pretty much a little bit after that that Barclay had taken a EMP nap.
Yeah.
So that makes me feel like some decent amount of time had passed. And then the way it was set up, it seemed like, Isaiah had some time to kind of to process the fact he had been fired. Zenzi
Mm-hmm.
was off, prepping herself, I'm assuming to start her little like brain trust thing. So
Yeah.
some amount of time had to have passed. Plus they
Mm-hmm.
had to have gotten Tom to wherever he was,
Yeah.
and woke back up and all type of ish. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. I'm like maybe I'm just too focused on I don't know the
Yeah.
details like I'll need to be. But this yeah, because then also Barclay is like, yeah, you don't work for us no more, Isaac. So get out of here.
Yeah.
Um, he approaches Zenzi. She says he better be dead or else I'm gonna kill him because of course something's wrong with Tom. Zenzi was on it this
She was.
episode.
She was.
Mm-mm. So how do we feel about Isaac being fired and Barclay being shady?
Oh, Barclay has always been shady, so that's part of the course at this point. Barclay been shady since Nancy Drew. Um, but as far as Isaac, I mean, donate the money to Isaac's GoFundMe so he can find so he can
Yes,
find
let it
employment.
be known. Yes.
Because it was I'll talk more about it when we get to that point, but I'm also wondering if that may have been a if that was part of the episode
I thought
storyline.
so. I thought so. I thought so. Okay. So I would like for you to start with the second scene of Zinzi and Isaac approaching someone
Yes.
who they feel has information about Tom.
Yes, yes. So Zenzi and Isaac are desperate. They're looking for someone to kind of to aid them. And the skies open up, sunshine shines down, birds start to sing, and in comes Rowan. Just
Not the
joy.
bird. Not the
Just
bird
joy
start to
and
sing.
happiness.
Yo, I'm with it. I'm with it.
Because it's been too long. But yeah, they're looking for someone because naturally Isaac is kind of suspicious. His first mind is to Rowan because he's been suspicious of him, the whole show. So
Mm-hmm.
he, runs up on Rowan and is like, "What did you do? Where is Tom? Or what have you?" And
Mm-hmm.
Rowan is like, "I don't know. Like, ain't you his bodyguard? Pretty much." Um, so they have their little back and forth. I guess Isaac finally realizes that he ain't got no clothes on, much to my personal enjoyment. Um,
Hey, hey,
hmm, hmm.
listen. I
And Rowan basically tells him that these are his ass whooping clothes. You want to try them out?
yes. I didn't like that, but I like that. I
Listen,
get it, Rowan. I get it.
listen.
Um,
Insert Monique meme here. I would like to see it. I would like
hello.
to see it.
Oh my god, I love that scene. I was like, dang, I want more of them. I like
Yes,
Isaac and Rowan. I like them together. I like that back and forth. Um, it never felt like to me that like one person was better or stronger or smarter than the other. It felt like they are literally two very capable folks who are just like kind of bumping heads. And that
right.
scene, I think you could have easily played that for like you said, these my ass whooping clothes, and then played the Isaac character more offended, softer. Like
Yeah,
I think it was the right balance on both of their parts, and it was funny. It was funny. I liked it.
it was. It was really good, and I'm glad it was like because it would be easy, especially with how the show I think was originally supposed to be set up. It'd be easy to kind of to play that as like, oh, like you're my competition for Tom's affection type deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad it didn't delve into that. It was just straight up like, I see you, I see the
Yep.
shady stuff that you're doing, and I was
Mm-hmm.
saying I will appreciate it. And then on the same time, like I see you, I know you a problem.
Yeah, you're getting in my way.
Hmm.
Our views are against one another. um, but Rowan says something this episode that I think maybe I'm too blonde to like realize that has been said out like outright. But he said like Tom is my mission. Like my mission is to watch Tom. I would have assumed that anyways. However, I'm thinking, am I like I didn't assume that? I thought he was just working with Nathan and like doing his bidding. Should I have realized that? Or
I
like
mean,
what?
yeah, you probably should have, because they said what episode? I don't remember what number episode that was, but the episode
The
was him.
cowboy?
No, it was one. It was one before that one.
Okay.
The one where they were making
Oh
out
yeah.
in Tom's observatory.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end of that episode, he's telling like the congressman, like I have another way to get in. Oh,
Yeah.
even before then, like the fact that he did whatever he did to Barclay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we know that he's been like keeping an eye on Tom this whole time. And he told Tom that you shouldn't trust me. Basically, I'm out to
Right.
get you. So
Mm-hmm.
we knew. I will say though that I was surprised that he said it just flat out like that.
Yeah.
But I'm
But he also said, if y'all lost him and I lost him, that's my ass too. Like he was like, which
right.
I'm so this show is so good because they really had me questioning Rowan. Like clearly he's set up as
Mhm.
the antagonist, but questioning him and like not paying attention to the little stuff. I love true crime. I can pretty much piece together a mystery. But when he said, and this, I was kicking myself for this after, when he said that line about if if I've lost him, I'm in just as much trouble as y'all. I was like, oh no, he lying. But I'm like, no, like truly,
Yeah.
if he's not like, no, it makes sense. That it was
Mhm.
who it was in the end. But
Mhm.
they got me. I was so mad.
Yeah.
So mad they got
I
me.
was. I listen. We'll get to it, but yeah, they got me too.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was so I'm hoping we get some team up, some Avengers type stuff going next. So they investigate. They being Rowan, Zenzi, and Isaac. I think Zenzi and Rowan goes to the observatory.
Mhm.
Um, it's been established already that Isaac is having these headaches,
Mhm.
and don't really know what to make of them right away. But Rowan, oh, this show is so good. So Rowan notices a footprint
Mhm.
and they scan it for whatever DNA, whatever they did to scan to see
Right.
who it is. That comes up later, which again I took the bait thinking it was Rowan and it wasn't.
Yeah. That did feel like it was like oh, I planted that. Don't you see? This thing that did
Mm-hmm.
feel like that.
Mm-mm-mm.
I do want to say before we go too far away
Yeah,
from it. I really enjoyed the whole that what they call it, the side hoe protocol.
bro. Yes,
That made me laugh.
yes. Zenzi, and little things like that go a long way with establishing how close her and Tom are because they
Mhm.
argue every episode to the point where it is
Yes.
very frustrating. So having those smaller um like what is it, anecdotes or whatever, just things that
Yeah.
only she would know really does go a long way. The side hoe protocols being an override to Barclay so someone else can access him, but specifically based off of, like Zenzi said, you give a side hoe a key so they can come and go as they please. Like what? What is this show? What is this show? Because,
Oh, acknowledge that.
oh my
And
god!
see,
But it.
I just say,
Mm-hmm,
and if I can get on my emotional thing for a quick second, like that's the type of thing that's like outside of just the flat out, representational type stuff. Like that's the type
mm-hmm,
of thing that I think that this show does well. Like it
mm-hmm.
does the whole, sci-fi, and I know everybody
Right.
compares Tom to Tony Stark, but the angle that they approach this stuff, from what you're talking about, from blackness, from queerness, or just a different angle, period. Like
Mm-hmm.
that type of stuff you don't get nowhere else.
Right.
And I
No,
really
absolutely.
appreciate,
Mhm.
this show doing that.
Yeah, yeah. And to piggyback off that, I appreciate it because this is one show that doesn't feel like it's just stealing shit from Twitter.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because let's be honest, the
Hmm.
culture is constantly stolen and stripped away and
Hmm.
washed and watered down and repackaged for the
Hmm.
consumption of others. In this show, even with some of the smaller comments, even like was it episode one about the strong silent top, like just like little I don't know, just all in all, this show, say what you will about it, and I'm not even saying you have to like it just because of the representation, but there's you can't deny what's being put into it and what's coming from it, if that makes sense. The amount of energy and effort that's put into it. So regardless to how you receive it, you can't deny that this is genuine. It's authentic. It's not, it a lot of this, if you had some of this stuff coming out the words of the cast of Nancy Drew, it would seem weird. Or out
Right,
of Riverdale, it would be weird.
right.
Or out of what's this? Whatever. But that's enough examples. But all that being said, I think this is an authentic show, and it strikes the right amount of pretty much everything. I feel.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah. So I grew up watching Murder She Wrote and stuff like that, where you have to fashion these little these little like weapons and
Mhm.
figure way out of these tight spaces with like a wrench, a piece of gum, and some sewer water. So like this episode, hey, really did it for me.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I love this show, man.
yeah.
So Tom is locked up. He has to get out of this room, this big warehouse. It's a desk with a lamp and a broken up razor phone, some type of older phone.
Hmm.
And the walls have like an electric fence around them, but on the interior, so he can't just walk out or break the stuff. And he uses the camera that's monitoring him and the cell phone pieces to get out. He uses his brain.
Hmm.
And when he gets out, he's greeted by this white man in a suit whose name is
Hmm.
Garrett. Garrett has is that a like an electric baton? It's like a baton with a taser at the end. Is that what that was? I think
It's
that's
like
what
a
that was.
taser wand or something. I can't remember
Yeah.
the name, but yeah.
And so he has that with a tablet, an Apple tablet, and he's like, "Hey, you're done. You're free to go." But I
Mm.
got this woman whose name is Olivia Pope, and she's on this table in this hospital gown, blindfolded, and you could either save her or save yourself. But if you save yourself, she gone. She dead.
Then you
Um,
can live.
Silly as shit, and I didn't believe it because I saw an episode of Law and Order where they did this, and that was
Listen, I'm always suspicious of stuff like that.
yo. I was like,
'Cause I,
nah, this ain't true.
Because I'd be in the thing, be like, tell her to raise up her left arm and touch
Mhm.
her right elbow. It's like,
Yep.
no. Mm-mm.
Yep. Speaking tongues. No. I didn't trust her because I was like, I know she in on it. She probably the mastermind. I was like, no, kill her. But he didn't. Spoiler alert,
Yeah.
he didn't. And he was like, all right, I'm gonna help her out. Now, this point, I was like, okay, is this true? Is this the same time we've gotten all season? And I was gonna say no, but I think though Tom can be an ass and he's a rich, very focused kind of jerk, I think a lot of the scenes, especially those with Lino, if you didn't
Right.
think this was in his character to like save her, I think that Lino stuff specifically kind of softened him. Where again, if you didn't think Tom was capable of this, that he would be someone who's like, okay, I've seen the error of my ways. I can't let this woman just die or whatever. So
Yes.
yeah, at first I was like, no, I don't know if this is true to the character, but no, I do think that is
Mhm. I think
true to
that
Tom.
if I didn't believe that this was his character before, after last episode, I 100% believe it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Like you
Mhm,
said, because of the whole Nino thing, coming off of the concrete cowboys in the episode before that,
mhm,
and then the stuff that happened with Lino Mama in the last episode.
mhm.
Then when you add on top of that, I forgot that person's name. The
Violet. Oh, who?
Claire's assistant from last episode.
Um, Quinn,
You know who I'm talking about?
Quinn,
Quinn. Okay.
Quinn.
And
Mhm,
then with Quinn like calling him out for, basically just being rich and privileged and not thinking about everybody that Tom affects. I
mhm.
think those things combined really make me like, yeah, he would do this because we've seen him actively trying to be better.
Right. Okay, so I think I don't know for sure, but I might have to eat my words from like the first couple episodes. So my one of my biggest concerns, if you go back and listen to like just the first 2 or 3 episodes, is that they're trying to set up Tom as this person who is like irresponsible and terrible and not ready to take over the company. And I didn't doubt it. I just felt like there wasn't any examples laid out that would support how extreme everyone was being. But with
Mhm.
all of the growth that we've actually seen in the last few episodes, I can walk that back and say, even
Mhm.
though I didn't feel that way before, the very fact that I can see this growth
Mhm.
shows that something was done right. And maybe there's something disconnected from me. And I'm not even saying I was completely wrong, but I do think there's something to be said that we've just listed all these examples as to why Tom would save that woman
Mhm.
versus the man from the beginning. And
Yeah.
last episode, specifically with Violet calming her down, helping
Mhm.
Lena, like that stuff, when I look at that isolated, that does, if I'm looking at it through like a Lorraine parent lens, that does show me that you are stepping up in a way that even if me myself didn't see it, I could see, okay, now you're becoming a man you should be
Yes.
with your father gone or here.
Yes.
Um, and I think maybe him taking that position as an entry level employee also maybe added to that. But things are coming together for me now that really
Yeah.
didn't at the beginning. So
Yeah.
kudos to the writers' room.
Yeah.
Kudos to y'all. Oh, Tom, my man, Tom. Um, so in order for Tom to save this woman, he has to go to another part of the warehouse that's actually what they call it,
The obstacle course.
or yeah, but what's the other name for that? Oh Lord, I'm trying to make a joke and I don't forgot the name, but that CrossFit, Lord Jesus, he has to go to CrossFit wing. And this, yeah, it's obstacles, it's tires, it's felt grass, it's paint, it's white clothes, and I, I liked it because even this felt like it fit. It a lot of, I don't know. I guess I feel like you run the risk of stuff being really cheap when you have a setup like this, where okay, we're just in this warehouse, we're gonna do this thing, but this felt very much like okay, I can see how, as simple as it is, the objective to not get a fully white outfit covered in paint is a little bit more tactical and requires more brain power than just like physical prowess.
Like it's interesting because, like you said, on the surface level, it could be real cheesy. We're like, oh my god, really? But I think it works. One, because of what you said, like it's tactical, like you got to be smart to be able to do this, and two, it feels so genuinely Tom
Mm-hmm.
to be like, I have to protect my outfit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it shows that whoever is in control
Mhm.
does know him. Like
Yep.
the first test you're playing on his genius intellect or no or
Mhm.
his inventor skills. In this one on his obsession with his appearance. And
Yep.
even though it's not an outfit that he would just walk out wearing, it's still like the stress of the challenge is to not mess up your outfit.
Yeah.
Like it is most simple, watered down, plain version. Um, and him figuring it out. Because for me, I was like, well, just put on the like put on some clothes, get painted, and then just take them off and have the other one underneath. So, but that's not what they wanted, and that probably wouldn't have been as interesting. So,
No, you would not. Why would you have him put on more clothes?
look, shoot. Well, no, you're right. My apologies. He could have just been naked. Like, if you're naked and you're running around holding the clothes, hey,
White clothes,
10,
baby.
get it together. Look. But I did enjoy this, and I also enjoyed it because we haven't really, like outside of the observatory, we haven't gotten Tom like on his own doing stuff
Yeah.
sh- without the distractions of like Claire or news from Justin or being shady to Zenzi. Like just
Mhm.
him doing his thing like he does. This was
Yeah.
this was this was good.
It was a good way to remind us why this is his show. Um,
Absolutely.
because
Yep.
I think it's easy when you spend so much time like with him being supported by Zenzi, by Iante, by Lino, by whoever.
Hmm.
It's easy to forget, like, okay, so why is this Tom? Why is the show Tom Swift again?
And
But
yeah.
like an episode like this around us, oh yeah, this is why he's the main character.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree. Seeing this black man hop around in these white clothes, celebrating, yelling Kobe, like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
Um, so he does that. He gets the flag, celebrates hard.
Hard.
Uh Garrett comes out and he's like, "Yeah, you did good," and he's celebrating, talking shit. Yeah, you motherfucker, I got this shit, like talking shit like we do, and
Yeah.
get shot in the chest with a tranquilizer dart. I think
Mhm.
that's what. It says, like, you bitch. It's just so Tom. So genuine. But
Yeah.
he gets knocked out. He gets knocked out,
Mhm.
and we back to square one.
That was a move. That was a move. Because I don't know if I said it out loud, but I feel like I said it in my head. Like, really,
Yeah. Yes.
bitch?
After all that, and he didn't. I hate Garrett. Um,
Really?
but one thing in this episode that was very funny, interesting, is Tom continued to get kidnapped. There was not one scene where Tom was not kidnapped. Well, there was. I'm exaggerating, but like he kept getting that bag over his head. And I was like, I don't like this. I don't like the imagery. I ain't finna like y'all could do something else.
Just tell me to close my eyes. Jeez.
Hello, put a handkerchief on his eyes, maybe, but this whole over his I ain't like that. That was
Mm-mm.
anti-black to me. That was but as soon as he gets knocked out, the cavalry comes in. And they had a bomb on Gilead. So Zenzi Zenzi, Rowan, and Isaac bust through the door, come in the club, shaking their dreads, throwing these balls and busting some heads. And Tom is passed out. And I just this also to the credit of the show doing such a good job with Tom this episode. I think when it comes to like the team aspect, this was really good too. we've
Yes.
gotten missions in the past, but this to me stood out. Like
Mhm.
this was a
Yeah.
really good mission.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So,
Um, yeah, like I like the interplay between all three of them. Like
mm-hmm,
they come in and Zenzi just like immediately like rushes to us of like what's going on,
mm-hmm,
and she showed because there's like a syringe or what have you on the ground, and
mm-hmm,
she's looking at this. And it's some lettering on it. She's like, "What is this?" And she shows it to them, and Rowan is like, "It could be an antidote." Isaac is like, "It could be something that's gonna kill him," and Zenzi's
mm-hmm,
just like,
mm-hmm.
"If you die, I'm gonna kill you. If you die, I'm gonna kill you." it's
Yes,
just
yes.
it just hits him with the syringe,
Mm-hmm,
and I think that really shows that says a lot about I think about all of their characters. It says
mm-hmm,
that one, it shows her intelligence because she figures out what the syringe is, and
mm-hmm,
two, it shows like how she's able to kind of focus on the goal. It
mm-hmm.
shows Rowan being like still shady because why would you just assume that this is the
Yeah.
right thing? And then it
Mm-hmm,
shows what we've been saying about Isaac since the beginning, that he's paranoid pretty much. He's always like, I don't trust it. I don't trust it. What is that?
yeah. I agree. I agree. And then got lost for a second, my bad. Also having Zenzi be able to recall, hey, this is whatever. Epinephrine, something she said. But
it's
later on
EpiPen,
finding out, huh? You said who?
it's EpiPen pretty much.
There we yes, yeah, yeah. All intents and purposes, that's what it is. And then later finding that though she may not have stated it right out, but this is like a memory recalled from when they were children. And
Hmm.
Tom had a attack of some sort, and that was the cure. And so and I like that because again, it's showing me why they're even friends for all the hollering and screaming that they do. And you
Yeah,
argue with friends, and sometimes you might have your seasons where you argue a little bit more. But I do think that these small touches do a good job at explaining where we are with them two, how they got to this point, and why their friendship matters.
yeah.
Because in the other show, it's like, why is this girl even bother with this man? He is an asshole. But like,
Right.
I see it. That's still true, but I see
Like
it.
there, I think that this episode did really good, like in showing that, like we said, despite all the arguing that they do, that they're still friends. Because like
Mm-hmm.
when Zenzi hits him with the EpiPen, and he finally comes to,
Mm-hmm.
and Isaac and Rowan are questioning her like, what made you do this? How did you know what this was? And she tells them, oh, this is essentially EpiPen, and they're like, okay, and she's like, he'll be fine. He's had worse things inside him, which
She did. Yes, she did say that.
only a friend could make that type of joke.
Listen, because mm, yeah, because I know he kept mentioning Vegas. Like,
Yes,
was it this episode? Oh
it
Lord,
was
this
this
episode.
episode.
Okay, I was like, um, yo, you're absolutely right,
Mhm.
and this is where, for me, it was truly solidified that Tom has grown.
Mhm.
Every argument we've gotten from them two in this episode, some kind of way stem back to his father, and
Mhm.
Tom, being a jerk and not appreciative of Zenzi. When they left, the four of them left that warehouse, and he was in all white, and Zenzi brought up like the fourth capsule piece that they needed to get to Barton. And he's like, my dad has months of oxygen left. We have to save this girl. I Two things. I was pissed off because I was like, where the fuck was this attitude for the last 5 episodes when you was giving Zenzi hell and you could have been a better friend to her? Like, I'm still not excusing that, nigga.
No.
But it also was like, okay, I'm going to accept this as what they're giving us, as like now I'm this changed person where though I am focused, I do have to divide my time because dad has months, even though it's not a great situation. This woman has minutes.
Yeah.
So I was here
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
I was here
Yeah.
for it.
And even like kind of again building off of that, like where Tom has said in episodes before, like, I don't need you. I'm Tom Swift, like you're
Mm-hmm.
like my dad song. when
Yeah.
they're talking about,
Say it.
oh, how are we going to save this girl?
Yes.
Like, what are you going to do? Tom is
Yeah.
like, I got you. I got
Ha.
two black men that love saving my life, so we're good.
Hmm. Yeah. Like, when have we gotten that? Like, man, I don't mean to. Fuck it, I do mean to. When have this scene could truly you could swap out for white actors, for Indian actors, for Hispanic actors, and the scene would read the same at its core. But when have we ever seen this with some queer black men? Like that line alone. Come on, man. Like I wonder, and this is really dramatic, but I wonder what kind of man I would be if I saw this as a kid. But no, just like having that there,
Yeah,
and I don't know. Let's keep going because
yeah,
I'm gonna get so toe up. But that was being, yeah. This is a different type of action hero. This is a different type of tech genius. Like this show is really checking all the boxes. Like even representation aside, where you got the mystery solving, you got the invention, you got the group of friends. Like it's checking all the boxes that a lot of shows do, but it has
right.
this particular I hate to say it, swag to it, this particular aesthetic, this particular voice that it's coming from. It's like, when have we gotten that before? You can't
Yeah,
point to one show or movie that's not indie. And again, this ain't nothing against indie. We love indie over here, but
correct.
something that's made for mass consumption that gives you that. We just don't. This is the first of its kind. Man. You know what I'm saying? Yo, so yeah, they move on to become the Fantastic Four. These motherfuckers, they get into this shield mobile. I don't know the same van that kid. What is this? This mobile closet tank unit, and what is happening? But they get in there. Isaac's driving. Zenzi's in the passenger seat. Tom is in the back. Rowan's sitting up, looking him up and down in his ass whooping outfit, watching Tom get changed. And I was like, y'all
Hmm.
did these cuts a little bit too well. Like I was expecting to see some cheeks, something. um,
Something. We just
yeah,
saying
they
put in the
hold
back
out.
some tickets, but okay, fine. All right.
Look, send us the HBO Max. Let's see what
Let's
y'all really
go
trying to do.
right
Let's
now.
see what it is, because Insecure gave us a lot of booty meat. So,
Yes.
uh, so Tom gets dressed and powers up Barclay. Barclay's like, "Hold the fuck up! Who's this on your wrist?" He's like, "Man, don't even play Barclay. This is another watch. I'm forced to wear this or something." And Barclay was like, "Yeah, how many times have you had to say that?" Barclay was shady. Barclay was Dorian Corey. Barclay was. I don't have to say this. I
Hey,
don't have to tell you ugly because you know you ugly. Like, bruh. Barclay, the writing for him, for them, oh, was so good.
Barclay, just thinking about stuff that Barclay said when Barclay called to tell Isaac about who sent the capsule piece. Isaac picked the phone. Barclay said, "Sign ho." I was like, "What? Why would you say that?"
Look, that LeVar Burton needs an award. I don't like they all are good, but LeVar, come on.
And I think that adds to it. I think that adds to it because
Hmm.
when do you hear LeVar Burton calling somebody a side hoe? Like what? Oh,
Oh my god, yeah, I this I just love this show, man. Yeah, so kudos to LeVar. What I do want, kind of side note, if this is the only season, even if it's not, can we get a reunion special? Like just the whole cast sitting around, and we can host it now. Please,
listen,
by all
you're
means, we can
down.
decode Tom Swift
Mhm,
reunion special and sit up and
mhm,
talk with each and every one of them. I want LeVar
mhm.
up front. I want April Parker Jones, so I can ask her, sis, what's up with you and sisters? We can,
You ain't your sisters.
I even want Nathan up there so I can give him a piece of my mind. But yeah, if we can get a reunion, you know what I'm saying? CW,
We'll
Cameron,
do it.
let them know.
Mm.
Um, so, so the Fantastic Four then go into this. warehouse building. We're in a hospital room. It's I want to say makeshift. It is a almost like prison cinder block frame, but the interior is like hospital bed,
Yeah.
hospital posters, chairs. Like it feels like a hospital room, and they're pretty much told, "Hey, this woman, she's in another room. Do what you got to do to help her out." Tom gets separated from the group. The door slams shut, and our folks is split up, and
Mhm.
Tom has to make a very important decision that I would have failed this test. I would
Yeah.
not have been recruited because I.
Mhm.
So Tom is instructed to decide between saving the woman in room one, who he's been trying to save, and Zenzi, Rowan, and Isaac in I'll say room two. He can see both of them on a monitor, and there's is it what did he say?
It's
Nitrous
nitrogen.
nitrous. Okay, yeah, it's being pumped into the room. Oxygen will be pumped into only one room, and you have to make the decision as to which one. I would have instantly said my friends.
Yeah.
What is it
Yeah.
like?
I'm
I
just being honest.
Yeah, and I was mad that he like I'm not watching the show where all of this is playing out. I was really mad that he picked the woman because like, three of the most beautiful people.
It's five people in the other room. What you doing?
God, yes, but again, the show being smarter than me. The reason behind it was if you could save that lady, fine. He has a relationship with these three people, and he's able to build an invention through them
Mhm.
to then come up with a way to get them out of the room, which that makes total sense. But
Yeah.
I was like, nah, kill her, finish her, because no, there's no way. Um, that was so smart. That was
Yeah.
smart. I would have gotten there eventually, and I maybe even not being genius level like Tom, I would probably even think, okay, it's three of them. Even just by sheer force of their three bodies, they could probably find a way to get out. But emotionally, I wouldn't have been able to.
And that's the thing. Yeah.
It's what is that common like tale fable question, like there's a woman on the train tracks, but then there's three people on a cliff, some kind of something where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, choose,
Yeah.
sacrifice many to save few, or few to save many, or what is it? But that's hard, man.
It is. And it's a hard because he had 10 seconds to make that decision.
Absolutely, absolutely. Woo, that was something else, but he did it. And to the show's credit, not that I am this superior TV watching, I predict everything, but I think they did a really good job because the answer was always the lady because we're watching a show. It's always like it's help her. But my issue is the why. And I think with the why and the way he worked through the three friends to get a solution worked for me in a way where I was like, oh, I don't know about that.
Mhm.
She got to go. She doing
Yeah.
all this screaming and hollering. Get her out of here. Uh, so uh, he gets them to fashion a like drill or
Drill.
hammer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's essentially a drill.
So two things though. When they were walking up to this place, this facility in that grassy area, and Rowan was last to come down, I say this is intentional because to me, I'm like, oh, he gonna lock them in there. Then he
Mhm.
didn't. And I was like, oh, okay. Then they get in the room and get separated. And Tom, it's something about the way that Tom was like, if you like just push your weight, like a few more hits and you're out of here. And the fact that Rowan went down first, Rowan is bigger than them. So I was thinking Zenzi being the smallest, she should have went down first. I was like, no, Rowan trying to sabotage them.
Now that was I was there. I was there. I was like,
Yeah.
mm.
Hey.
I said, why are you the first one down? Mm-mm.
And you the biggest, and you weren't down because he did try to what's this before
Cover
or
the thing.
after? Yeah, go through the vent, and there was that like invisible electric thing. He didn't go
Mhm.
down because he was physically hurt. He went down because the effects of the nitrogen was affecting him. I was like, nah, maybe I didn't pass science. Maybe he should have went down first, but I don't think so. I think Zenzi should have been the first to go down. But they was, beating through the wall, saved him, and got out.
Yeah.
And Tom was kidnapped
But
again.
yeah, but not before
Like,
they got out to get shot.
yeah, yeah. I, oh yeah, no, that yes, that. How did my mind just completely delete that from my memory? Yes, they got shot, red dots and everything. Like they were shot. Um,
My reaction was Tom. I was like, what? Wait, so you mean to tell me I just
yes,
bought this for nothing? Like what?
I just did what you said. Like I saved them. You didn't say I couldn't save my friends, but we got the oxygen in there. We got them out, and yet we still can't win for losing. What is happening? What is the point? What's the
Mhm.
point?
Please.
I hated this. We got a little shot of Rowan's. Hey, it felt. We stop. Jesus Christ, objectifying these dang people. Oh me, but so they know what type of show they made. I'm not worried about this. So yeah, Black Squid Games come in and shoot them all. Tranquilizer, they down, and Tom's kidnapped again, and then he wakes up at home. I I was stressed. This bothered me. A lot of this bothered me, but not in a bad way, like in the best of ways. I was very angry and upset. One thing I will say is this episode truly subverted a lot of my expectations, but some stuff I
Mhm.
was able to catch on to. What I am going to say for sure, and to somebody from the show proves me wrong, is that that was Lino's voice that he heard speaking.
Mhm.
And so Tom wakes up, pulls the mask off his head, he runs downstairs, and we hear Garrett's voice. And it
Mhm.
could be Garrett throughout, or maybe a blend of both of this, but I swear I heard Lino's voice.
Like
And
when I rewatched it, I heard it and I heard Lino and I was like, I don't know if that's like intentional. Like I don't would consider how it ended up. I don't know if that's
yeah,
intentional. I don't know if they were just like, oh well, make sure this man gets some money for this episode, so I have him read these lines. Like I
hey,
don't know what was happening. But yeah, I agree with you.
yeah, I was definitely like, I know I'm not crazy. And that's what had me kind of second guessing. And and see, I hate that this stuck out to me because now I'm like, Violet said, you're a cyborg or whatever she said. Like, so is this like, is this just happenstance? Like, give this actor these lines, or is this intentional? And if it is Lino already part of the group? Like, what? I'm stressed because Tom walks down this corridor or this promenade of Black history
Mhm.
and gets a lot of this show. If they don't do nothing, they're gonna give you a history
They're gonna
lesson,
teach you, baby.
and
They're
it
gonna
was
teach you.
done well. Oh yes,
Mhm.
this was done well. This episode, it was more um it was bigger than the lessons we've gotten in the past about the black astronaut and the black cowboys, but this one, though bigger, went with the mood and the feel of the episode. It wasn't out of place. um After the history lesson, Garrett pops up and he's like, hey, Negro, black people been through a lot. And Tom is like, I'm finna whoop your ass. I wonder what would have happened if he had a guy close enough to connect before the reveal was made. Because you playing a dangerous game. Um, it turns out that Garrett is not Garrett because Garrett died in what was it, 58 or something? Garrett died years ago, decades
Yeah.
ago. And this actually is an image inducing collar from X-Men or something. And it's Lorraine. Lorraine Swift has been pulling the strings this whole time. Do you know how loud I yelled when I saw that woman's face? I, I yelled so loud. Lorraine, we gonna have to start this up because what you not gonna do, I'm still not okay with this. I'm not. I'm not like,
Yo, like I tweeted during the I was like, girl, what? And that's exactly what I said when I said, girl, what? Like,
Yeah.
excuse
What are you
me?
doing? What are you doing?
Because my thought going in was that this was going to end up being Justin. And I felt like
Mm.
solidified in that when they got to the observatory and it was all trash and I messed up because I was like, who
Okay.
has access to this? Who's been in this? Nobody but that bad and Rowan. And Rowan is
Bikini.
standing right here.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
so even like the first time I watched this and I heard, the voices when he was coming down the hall of history, I was
Mhm.
trying to listen. I was like, is that Justin's voice? Like, is
Mm.
that what it is? It's like, is he explaining like this is why we did this type of deal?
Yeah.
But then it turned to Lorraine.
Hmm.
And I watched to see was it gonna turn again. And it didn't. So it was
Huh.
her. And I was like, girl, what? What are you
Yes.
doing?
What are you going through, lady? You have been stressing all of us out for 6 episodes. What the hell? I was so mad at Lorraine. I was so mad at her. She goes on to explain that, this is part of an initiation and about the trials and tribulations that Black people have been through, and that even though the Tubman Group is this public entity with dealings and whatnot, that there is a hellfire inner circle where the Illuminati play, because that's what it sounded like to me. Um,
Mhm.
which makes all of her actions make more sense from the beginning. Because I was definitely like, "What are you talking about, Lorraine?" Like he missed one thing, and so it makes me not as upset with the Tubman Group lady, but kind of no, I ain't giving her no passes. That first episode, regardless of if it's
That
inner
first episode was
circle or
bad. Mhm.
not, since his dad died, we were at a funeral. Oh, he's not ready. Which I get it because maybe because the dad died, he just showing he like I get that, but like we were at a funeral for his dead dad. Like, calm down, Tubman Group lady.
Please.
Um, but yeah, this reveal. Go ahead.
Yeah,
What you got? 'Cause
it threw me for a loop because like when Lorraine started explaining, like you said, it put into context why she was so gung-ho about, like you gotta be this person, whatever, what have you. And in hindsight, it may
mm,
also kind of make we may answer a question that we had and make something make sense. Because you remember, I think it was the first episode,
mm-hmm.
when they got into it about something, and Lorraine was like, I see now I'm gonna have to do this myself.
Yeah.
We were saying like, so are you gonna like run the company yourself? What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm wondering if she meant then that she was going to end up having to build, the planet Black in the sky.
Mm. It could be that, and I would even go so far as to say when she said I'm gonna have to do it myself, it's probably even in my head canon referring to these trials. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because that conversation she had with him was
Mm-hmm.
after he talked to Justin. In her
Mm-hmm.
explanation, she said, I'm trying to push you more towards Justin so you can be surrounded with people who I know would be able to take care of you, which leads me to believe Justin is already in the inner circle,
Yeah,
or at
yeah,
least close to. I think he is. So that, hey, y'all did
yeah.
that.
Y'all did,
Y'all did
and
that. Go ahead, because
I know. I was just gonna say that it even makes me wonder. I was like, so is this what you're doing when you're not being mind controlled by Claire? Is you out
come on.
here? I'm gonna say you out here pulling B613 moves
Huh.
to support Black people, and
Yes.
also,
Come on. Come on. Come on.
are
I
you
think we
being
agree.
now? I'm wondering, are you being mind controlled by Claire? Are you setting this up? Like, what's happening?
Come on. Because my first thought was I'm willing to accept all of this. What I'm not willing to accept is that you can do all of this shit, build a planet in the sky, you could fly twice as high, take a look at in a book, reading rainbow, but you can't recognize that Claire is poisoning you. I refuse to. I refuse to accept that. So, to your question, are you even being mind controlled? Like,
because come and say because think about it, like the only like really detrimental thing that she did was she signed off on like
conservatorship,
yes,
guardianship.
that pretty much, which we find out this episode directly led to her seeing that Tom was ready for the inner circle. So now I'm wondering, like, did you do this of your own? Did you actually do this of your own accord? Because this was part of the test.
Mm-hmm. What's the truth, Claire? Claire, what's the truth, Lorraine? And I'm gonna go so far as to say that this show, How to Get Away with Murder and Scandal, are in the same universe. I don't care. It's to me, they are. There's been a President Fritz somewhere. I don't know what year, maybe in the early 2000s, but I feel like the events of Scandal did happen in this universe, and so did How to Get Away with Murder. Um, yeah, so that was my issue with Lorraine and Claire. Is like, how are you still being whatever? Um, did she explicitly say that? No, she did, because that's why he was going to space. Okay, that he's in the inner circle.
Yeah,
Um,
they all went through their little hell week apparently.
so look, and I love that. I hate that Zenzi had to go through it this way, but I'm also happy that she's like included. But I guess now my concern when it comes to Zenzi is y'all have gone above and beyond to take care of her. Were you not grooming her for the same trials? Because she's like, I tried to push you more towards Justin, but I see you already have your own group, as if Zenzi and Isaac weren't really um viable or valid to them. Like, am I reaching, or does that make
I understand what you're saying.
mm-hmm,
I could see them coming to that conclusion about Isaac, particularly with the events with how Lorraine reacted to last episode.
mm-hmm,
I maybe this is just I don't want to believe that, but
right,
I don't think that Zenzi would have been just like completely and totally excluded.
mm-hmm,
Maybe it's one of those things where like, okay, if this shit don't work out with Tom, let's see if we can get it with her, and if it don't work out with
mm-hmm.
either of them, okay, whatever.
But see,
And
then that go ahead, my bad.
go ahead.
No, but then that even leads me to like, where's Lino in all this? Like, he's probably not of age enough to join, but are you grooming him to
That would
do
be
this
my
too?
that would be my bet. That it's just because he's not of age, and it could be, it could be that that because she did say that we want you to build it, so it could be that they weren't really intending on any of them doing it until like
Mm-hmm.
Tom showed that he was smart enough to like, oh, you could actually be of use.
Yeah. Oh wait. Damn, this is a good episode. Shit.
It was. It
This
was.
there's not, and the funny thing is that even the things that I'm critiquing and have critiqued in prior episodes have been explained or at least given context to with this one. So any, like, how I know we rated maybe a little lower in past episodes,
Mhm.
with this knowledge now, I would probably raise some of those ratings because
Yeah.
of this explanation was done so well, where it didn't feel like it was a retcon, like, oh, you never met Nancy Drew and Nancy Drew was a robot. It didn't feel like something tagged on thing. It felt like very intentional
Yes.
develop, like, oh, this show is so freaking good.
And this is I saw, I don't remember if it was Cameron or someone or just the general writers room, but somebody tweeted out like we've had this particular plot point in mind like since the beginning. So I'm
Mm,
with you. I kind of want to go back and rewatch the earlier episodes to see can I see like some hints towards this sort of like resolution.
yeah, absolutely. Because this is done so well. And now I'm even more excited. Like, I'm a Justin fan, but
Mhm.
not like I am for other characters. But knowing that he has a part in this, where like he was right in our face.
Mhm.
Now, what happens that Tom is in the know?
Yeah.
What kind of relationship do we have now? And like, not even to be like gross about it, but our sexual romantic situation, was that just to get you close, not to deceive you, but to get you close, so me and Lorraine can then, do what we want to do? Or is it like just that remain? Do you still have that?
I see what you're saying, but
Mm-hmm.
now I'm wondering this. Like, I think I agree with you
Mm-hmm.
that Justin is already in it, and this is like part of that type of thing. But what if he's not?
Mm.
What if she was like Lorraine was trying to push her towards Justin to get
Mm-hmm.
both of them in the same way that she got?
Okay.
Tom, Zenzi, Isaac, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So it could even be that type of situation. And
Golly.
also,
Come on.
also, what does that mean for Rowan?
Listen, he's a double agent now. At this point, you
For
got because
real?
and I say that because that we could have had this episode without him. Not that he's not important and we didn't love it, but just thinking about this is a TV show, everything is intentional, nothing is an accident. We could have literally switched him out for Justin and let Justin go through this. But the very
Mhm.
fact that we included Rowan in, and now going forward, he gets the golden ticket too. Having to pick sides, is the Tubman group big enough to like protect him against the rollback?
Exactly.
Are they other double agents that Hispanic man
Exactly.
was about to beat up everybody? Is he also, like so? Oh, you're right. That's
Because that was my biggest question. Like after that whole like conversation, what have you? Like
mm-hmm,
so because Lorraine very clearly said that all of them were included now, and we put all of them back in their cars. Everybody will be fine. It's like so even on Tom's end, Tom, Isaac, all of them, like y'all know he wrote first for the roll back. Are you sure this is
mm-hmm.
what y'all want to go with?
I mean, but also keep in mind, he's like he said, I sent you the the third capsule piece. I
Yeah.
just try not to get killed, so I couldn't let you know it was me.
And it's
Which why did he send it to the job? But whatever. Which is like,
I mean that may have been the only place he knew to send it to. But
mm,
like even that, like, did you do that to get his trust?
hmm.
Or did you do that out of the goodness of your heart because he's actually looking for this? Like,
Ugh. Everybody's a
because
liar.
something else has popped up. Something else has popped into my head.
Come on,
Because
give it to me.
also, um, if Rowan knew to send him the castle piece back, does that mean that Rowan knows that Barton is alive? And if Rowan knows that Barton is alive, are we gonna have to go to space to make sure the rest of Barton ship will live long up?
Baby, if we go to space in episode 10 and do a true Fantastic Four, I'm for it. I don't even care. Just give me that. Give me space travel and give me Lino stowing away and just give it all to me. I'm with
Please.
it. I don't even care. I do not care. This is a science fiction show with space and all that cosmos. So yes,
Mhm.
I'm with it. I'm with it. I'll accept it. I want it.
I think I think what excites me most. I mean, yes, of course, there's the the history aspect. Shout out to
Mm-hmm.
everything they talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Black women and childbirth and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the context of the show, what I think that it really really excites me about this episode is like what this could do as far as like the narrative going forward,
Yep.
because we have thrown a whole bunch of wrenches into
Mm-hmm.
this. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious as to see which one of them we're gonna pull on.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the fact that they were able to get this one over on us and
Hmm.
because I can assure you, anybody watching this who has not been affiliated with the show, like on a payroll level, did not see this stuff coming.
No,
I I, I
no,
can I can I can stick by that probably 1,000%. You may have guessed that there like a piece of it, but the way all of this laid out from like the critiques we had in the early episodes, you can't tell me that somebody just knew
no,
that if you
no.
weren't, affiliated with the show. But I know they love seeing us go crazy in them dang on tweets. I know
They
they was
did.
so eating that up. He, hold up. So the episode ends. Isaac wakes up from the tranquilizer. He gets a call from Lorraine, and she's like, "Hey, I know we got to talk. I got to explain everything to you." Next scene, he goes to Rowan's car. Rowan wakes up. He explains, "Hey, what's up with the capsule piece? I'm trying not to get killed by whatever." Next, we see the Swift Mansion Man or whatever. Then Zenzi walks into the observatory, and Isaac is passed out on the ground. What are y'all doing? So when I take the Twitter to cuss out the writers' room and call them everything but a child of God, Cameron in the writers' room want to ask, "Oh, y'all like Isaac?" Girl, and I know they were playing with it. See, this is how emotionally invested in the show I was. Do not judge me, y'all. These are people who wrote the show. These are people who've been watching us for the last 6 weeks. When Cameron made that comment, "Oh, y'all like Isaac" or something to that effect, I genuinely was like, "Does he?" I was thinking, "Oh, he must not know we like Isaac." So I went on this long tweet, like, "Do you not understand? This is like." I know I look like a crazy person. And I was like, once I hit send and it was out there, I was like, oh, you need to turn off the TV because that was intentional. That was a joke.
Yes.
Fucking relax. Do you know? I'm not even taking the tweet now. If y'all can find it, find it. But I meant that. I was like, do you not understand? Did you see what I did last episode? I made a GoFundMe and I was like, you really need to relax because none of this is real.
These
And
people
they
probably
were
had a good old laugh. Like, oh, he thought we were
I mean, they shared that in the group chat for sure. Like, do you see this fool? Like, so I was like, oh, okay, let me relax because
serious.
this show has ruined me.
Stressed
I
me
was
out.
very invested. Oh my god. And I'm not even ashamed. Whatever. I was mad. I was like, but like I said, once I hit send and I like sat with it for a few seconds, I was like, oh yeah, you're not smart. You couldn't be in the crew because you are truly upset at something that was clearly a joke. So sorry, y'all, or you're welcome for the laughs. Because I was mad. I was mad. Um. Oh, how we feeling? How you feeling?
Whew. It was a roller coaster. Like them,
Yeah.
um, those last couple of minutes. Like I was sitting. I'm usually sitting on my couch in front of my TV. I was sitting on the floor in front of the television. Like please explain. Please make this make sense to me because I don't know how we got here. Um, you muted.
My bad. I do. You see, look, they still got me going crazy. I was agreeing with you everything you said. I think the only other thing that I like and then don't like, but they're both good that I like and don't like it, is that Tom had an older sister. Um, who because Lorraine didn't get the care she needed at being, I think she was diabetic at childbirth. Because a lot of women, well, black women, I don't know about all women, when they get pregnant, for whatever reason, don't ask me the science. I just know this because I know people who has happened to. They become diabetic while they're pregnant. My mom was like that. I think one of my aunts, and then my sister, something like that. I don't know the science. But all that being said, she was explaining like how they did not give her the care that was needed and did not believe her, which led to him losing his sister. Which I look for her name. I think was Alexandria.
It is.
Is
It
that
was
what was the?
Alexandra because which his middle name is Alexander.
Look, see, black people be. Let me tell you something about us. We gon' we gonna give you a name, be it a nickname, middle name, first name. You gonna get a name that means something or connected to
Mhm.
somebody else. Cause all my names, my two middle names and my first name is after my uncles.
All means
Like
something.
what? So no, yeah, I hated hearing that story, but I'm happy that that story was out there. And this
Yeah.
show now through this episode makes me feel okay. Let me explain when I say this. The way I felt about Lovecraft Country. And I know that there are different viewpoints about the show and the quality and the story overall, especially after it's all been aired. But I think when you get that show that had that one season that was black as hell, dealing with fantasy, mystery, black lore, things of that nature, even if you didn't like everything about the show, that's another show that I feel like you can't deny. Like it had its impact.
Yeah.
And so I feel the same way about that show that I do about this one, where you're touching on a lot of things that maybe, oh, if I'm gonna sound a little, I don't know, maybe Hotepian or maybe what, but like this isn't the consensus or the view that is usually shown when it comes to us. A lot of
Right.
time when you get history, it's incorrect.
Yeah.
because it's written from the viewpoint of the victors, of the folks in power and in charge. And you get stories like this that are buried, but that happen so often to the point
Yeah.
where people can then excuse racism and slavery and everything else. Like, oh, this didn't happen, but it did. So I
Right.
think that with this show having the this episode in particular, it gives me that Lovecraft Country feel where like yes, two different genres, but they were both black as hell. And a lot of their delivery on a lot of things was very black
Yeah.
and was not shying away from the traumatic and scary and hard parts of being black and black history. And I don't know, I don't want this show to end. I'm very sad.
No, I'm 1,000% with you. Like I have my own, my own feelings about Lovecraft Country, but
Mhm,
I agree with you. Like what you said, like no matter how I felt about it, the fact
mhm,
that that show like got people talking about sundown towns, I
mhm,
like that. Like that's an important conversation that people were able to have because that show
mhm,
presented it to us.
mhm,
I can only hope that a fraction of the things that this show touches on, starts up conversations within people because that whole especially at this moment, I'm not
mhm,
going to go, dating this or whatever, but especially in this moment, I think those conversations about, you know, black women in childbirth
mhm.
really important to have because
Absolutely.
I don't know if you caught this, and I'm not 100% sure if this is what the show was trying to say either. But
Mhm,
when I rewatched it and I watched Tom and Lorraine having that conversation,
mhm,
they play when Lorraine is explaining everything. They play like the sound or whatever of from that he heard when the woman was in the
mhm.
room, and he
Yep.
turns to, "That was you." I think
Mhm,
I missed it the first time, but when I rewatched, I was like,
mhm. Yeah. I so to jump on that really quickly, what I thought when I heard that is that that was footage of Lorraine as a young person, but it turned out to be someone who's part of the inner circle. But I was like,
mhm.
oh, if that had just been foot like that would have been, I probably would have cried. I'm not even gonna hold you up. I probably would have cried.
Like
Mm.
I thought that same thing at first. When I rewatched it, now I'm sitting here wondering, like, or was it just, which is almost as bad? Like,
Audio.
is that just the audio? Yeah.
Mm. This is heavy.
I
This
was like, whoo,
look.
whoo. Because it really puts it into context, like because in that moment, like Tom just completely breaks down, and
Mm-hmm.
like I I'm not gonna get myself emotional, but like I just put myself in that place, and I
Oh
was like, yeah, yeah, I
yeah.
understand, because wow, wow,
This was a
Woo,
stellar episode. Like
it
it
was,
like I said, we earned this. If you watch from episode one to now, you truly earned every explanation, everything that was given in this episode. And it was done so well where again it didn't feel like a retcon. It felt like this was on purpose. It
yeah,
never it makes Lorraine's actions make so much except for that Claire. I'm still the jury's
still
still
trying
out on this Claire situation, but it definitely made the show for me.
yeah,
And the fact that we still have three more episodes to go. Wait, this was episode six?
4,
Yeah.
7,
So we
8,
got
9,
four
10.
more episodes to go. Like, what do you mean? Tom Swift writer's room? What do you mean, Cameron? Like, what are you talking about? Can't nobody
We
tell
have to
me
go to
nothing.
Let's say we have to go to space. That's the only way else we can go at this point.
I mean, truly that and or introduce the multiverse in Tom Swift. Because at this point, what are you talking about? Like, unless we get a big in-game style battle between the Tubman group and the rollback, I don't want it. If unless we go to space, I don't like this. Truly, I'd be happy if the next four episodes is everybody going to the mall because y'all killed me with this one. But
Listen,
God, oh, my
yeah,
feelings was hurt. I went through all the motions. I, I, whatever. This was great. what I don't know. Fuck it. Like this was just good.
It was.
Let's see. Do you want to do the favors now? We have quite a few comments. Let's do these. Ooh, ooh, 50, 52, Lord. Okay, so Harry Hawk, what's going on? He's here. He says I'm rating this 10 out of 10. I heard that.
Yes.
Great acting, absolutely. Let's see. So Harry says there should have been an episode this good by episode 2 or 3. I Let me see. How do I put this? I wish they all could be this great,
Yeah.
but I think that because this episode did a lot of heavy lifting and not on its own, you needed those first like villain of the week, setting
Yeah.
up care like you needed that in the first few episodes. Because if we had got this for episode 1, like where do you go from there? Like
Yeah.
you can't give me a season if you give me like
That's true. That's
unless
true.
hey. So I agree with you, but it would have to be on a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
But I'm content with what we got. Now when I sleep on it a little bit more, I may come back and be like, yeah, maybe episode 4 should have, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like I really, of course, not to the level of this, but I feel like I
Mhm.
really enjoy episode two because episode two was one with the Dusty Darbies, right?
Ye- yes. Yes, because that's when we first had to get yeah.
Okay, so I enjoy the one that comes closest to this one for me is
Hmm.
that one. So I think that one was pretty good.
I can see that. Because there is those flashbacks as meeting with the wig named Camille. Was that the name? But
Hmm.
something it's it was yeah, so I could see that too. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Harry says, I really felt their social media team was far more active this past week than prior to the recent news. Okay. See, for me, I got them all as alert. So I just whenever they say then I got a whole section set up that's just all Tom Swift affiliated people. So I don't know. I look at that so much that I don't know if
Yeah,
I agree with this. Not because you're wrong. It's just because I already have something set up to just look at them. So maybe my lens is colored because I was like, I see them all the time. So, um, oh, I like this comment. Harry says this felt like the Southern Black version of Kingsman. That's good. I like that comparison or that, yeah, comparison. That's right. Words.
I think
Yeah.
I think I pushed back a bit against the Southern, but yeah,
Well, yeah, because they're in New York, right?
something like that.
Where are they? They're somewhere, like in the Midwest somewhere.
Rich people land
Right.
too
Yeah. And
expensive for.
yeah. Right. Right. I'd push back against Southern too, just because we know Zenzi was in Atlanta. And like, if
Right,
you're gonna say, "Oh, you spent this time in Atlanta," like you're nowhere near Atlanta, if that's the case.
correct.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
no,
Yeah.
but yeah, I do. I like the Kingsman reference. I like that. Okay, here he says, how do you feel about the Marcus Garvey reference? Building a separate country feels more like a roll back than a roll forward. Well, I'm going to say I agree. Now, not with Harry, like you're entitled to your opinion, but I mean, I agree with the building a separate country, and only because, well, not only because, but a big part is because going back to Lovecraft Country. In Lovecraft
Mhm.
Country for season 2, Misha Green released some of the concepts, ideas, maps, and whatnot that clearly stated that season 2 would show the America split up into different segments, and black folks had their own space, white folks had their, and I think Asian people too. There was another space that was
Yeah,
like out west, and I would like to see what type of space that is, what type of stories come from that. Only, and that's because when we do get science fiction, well, pretty much anything in entertainment, a lot of times it is through the white lens. It's through the lens of what's acceptable to white folks. How would they perceive this? So I think your critique or your question is valid, but I still want to see it. I think that having that separate, okay, twofold, is every black person going there or is it just these elites? Because that's also something to keep in mind. Is it just the inner
point.
circle? Because I'm all for building your own space because we already know how things were getting treated down here and that. And I also like that because they did it in a way that did not really center and focus on the trauma that we get from police brutality and X, Y, and Z. They are giving us a lot of history lessons. They're giving us, I think, the Lorraine story about the pregnancy was the most trauma that we've
Mhm.
gotten, and it wasn't an on-screen beating by a police officer. It's
Right.
very much this is the history. This traumatic thing is a historical thing that happened and that is happening to this day. And that's partly why we're building this space. It wasn't like episode 3, this is the police violence episode.
Yeah.
Man, now we gotta go. So I see what you're saying, but you
Yeah.
what you
And the again, I don't remember if it was Cameron or the general writers room, but they said that they specifically did not want to do that. That whole like this is the
yep.
message episode. They specifically stay away from that. And then just kind of piggyback off what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
um, when Lorraine, well, we know now it was Lorraine, was give like the whole history thing, talking about what they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
It made me think about what's currently happening with X-Men to kind of give it like a sci-fi
Come
fantasy
on.
type thing. Like
Come
we're
on.
going to pack up and we're going to
Mm.
go over here because we're sick of y'all treating us like shit. It was like,
Hey.
it's like
Yes.
so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a valid response. And I also think it says something that they are positioning the Tubman Society and the Road Back differently from each other,
Mm-hmm.
because what the Road Back seems to be trying to do is to kind of to just bring everybody down, whereas the Tubman Society
Mm-hmm.
is like, we're just going to just insulate and protect ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm not mad at that. I just want to know in its execution who becomes collateral damage.
That's
Is
a good
it
point.
you're not the right type of black? You're not
Yeah.
passing the paper bag test. You don't have the right amount of money. That's where my issue will fall in. It's not necessarily that they're creating this Zion in space, this Wakandan
Mhm.
nation, this Akaro. Um, yeah, it would be more or less that. But that's good, Harry. Good observation. What is like? Words are really working against me today. So sorry about that. He says I felt Marcus found the watch very quickly. Oh, don't be calling Isaac Marcus, but I get what you mean. Found the watch very quickly, but it's hard to tell. I thought that too. And some stuff because I consume so much media, even separate from this podcast, I have to really manage my expectations at times where I'm like, okay, this is a show. They have 26 minutes or they have 45 minutes. They have to get from point A to
Yeah.
point B. Some stuff is just so for I'm with you, Harry, but I was like, you know what? We only have
TV.
X amount of time
Yeah.
because
TV.
Zenzi was also just sitting in a car. Like, so I could be like, well, where was she coming from? Why was she just sitting there? So, but yeah, yeah. Ooh, I like this one. So here he says the big question is: does the rollback know about Tubman Society, and did the Tubman Society know about the rollback? Hmm. I think.
I,
I think yes. Oh, go ahead. Go
you
ahead.
think,
What you think?
I think no.
You think no? Oh, okay. Come on. Well, no. You okay? Go ahead. Go ahead.
So the main reason why I think no is because of how Lorraine reacted to
Mm,
Barton still being alive. I feel like if they knew about them, they would have known that was a possibility.
okay. Okay, okay. You brought me on your side because I was initially thinking the Tubman group knew about the rollback, but the rollback didn't know about the Tubman group
Hmm.
because the Tubman group is more insulary. Like they publicly are known as this black group, but the mechanics on the inside in the inner circle are hidden from folks even time up into this episode. So
True,
I
true.
assume they knew about the rollback in like, that they didn't want. But no, now that you say that like out loud, I think that makes sense that neither one of them know about each other. They both
Yeah.
so secret that they don't know about each other. So hey, they working. The PR is working. Okay, yeah, he says because it will all hang on Rowan, and if he's an agent, double agent, triple agent. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Come on, Harry, with the boy, you better
Listen.
say that. But yeah, no, no, no. Rowan would be the nexus between the two groups because Lord, I
Now
want
he's
Rowan's backstory. What has
you
this man
evolve.
been through? Hey, for
Mhm.
different reasons. I see. No,
Different reasons.
yeah, I want to see what's up with Rowan. Though we do get an Isaac story next episode. But
Yes.
yeah. Okay, was mom planning to the test sooner, but Tom kept being a no-show. We now know what his responsibilities are to the Tubman Society. I I wonder. I would say no, but not. I would say no only because the things that she was asking him to show up for. But I don't. Well, no, because he got kidnapped from the cotillion, so that was a thing she asked him to show up for. So now I don't know.
So is basically like he get kidnapped from the interior. Like if he say in episode one he was supposed to come give some speech. I'm
Mm-hmm.
guessing the question is like if he had shown up for that speech, would they have taken him then? Um,
Mm.
maybe.
See, perhaps because and the other thing that I feel supports that is the fact that we met Justin, and I can't get Justin off my mind because
Mm,
he was mentioned by Lorraine as being like an ally she wanted to push him towards. So perhaps,
maybe, maybe.
maybe. I had an easy. Yes, Harry. Yes, take off all the clothes. So, in reference to the paint on white outfit part of the trials and tribulations, Harry says, I had an easier solution to no paint on clothes. Take off all this clothes. Yeah, take those off. Take them off. We all wanted it. Take it off, 10. No. So Andrea Sanze says, I spent the last 2 weeks saying there wouldn't be a show without Isaac or Zenzi helping. So it was cool to see him use his intellect with limited resources. Yeah, I agree. And you did say that. You did say that. So I do agree. I'm glad that they were able to show that Tom is capable
Hmm.
even without other people, though it don't be seeming like it all the time, but he definitely is. Man. Something else I want to see. Andre says I want that Vegas prequel. What happened? Zenzi and Tom in Vegas. Because Zenzi seems to have forgot, but Tom has not. Like, what happened? I know. I know. Um, yeah, to my comment earlier, Andre also chimes in. What kind of man would I be if I saw this as a kid? Yes, that's precisely why we need this show. And I don't know. It just I think I'm getting more emotion. Okay, so I don't know how to kind of verbalize this, but I'm someone who has never truly been like starstruck by celebrities. And I mentioned that because I've met a few over the course of my life, and it wasn't until Chadwick Boseman's death, like in my adult years, that I really like felt
Yeah,
emotions intent, and I'm still not crying about it, but it's still, when I think about it at times, it does hit me. So that being said, I think that it is safe to say that to get that emotional reaction from someone who I'd never met, I just watched from afar, enjoyed their artwork, their artistry, had something like this have been like playing or in the zeitgeist or just on TV or somewhere when I was a kid or much younger, be teenager or whatever, it probably would have changed um a lot. And not just
yeah,
for me, for just other people. Yeah.
yeah. Because I think about when I was a kid, one of the first shows I watched that I can remember vividly, like sitting down and watching live action shows at least, was
Hmm.
the famous Jackson,
Okay.
which
Hmm.
if y'all are, if you're unfamiliar, it's basically a show about this black kid. He's a superstar. He stars in this science fiction show called Silverstone as Silverstone.
Hmm.
He decides that he's going to move back, to his hometown and move the production back there because he wants to be with his people. So the show is
Hmm.
all about sort of like what that looks like for him being this big celebrity in this small town, trying to go to school and live a normal life. And then it's always intercut with like things that are going like him filming the show. So we see like
Okay.
scenes from the show, interacting with the actors and so on and so forth. That was one, my first celebrity crush. I didn't realize it at the time, but looking back, it
Hey,
was.
I mean,
And two, That was like one of the first like black boy especially, that I had ever saw on like a TV show. And I still vividly remember like several of those episodes, stuff that went on, things that happened in the show. And that's just me just gravitating just based off of the black aspect. So I just
Mm-hmm.
wonder, like you said, like wonder like how I would have latched on to something like this that
Mm-hmm.
represents all of who I was.
Yep.
If I had
Yep.
no,
No, you're absolutely right. Because when a lot of your identity is wrapped up in politics of like, is this acceptable for kids or not, just by nature of existing,
yeah,
nobody's this show, even taking the sex with Justin out of the show reads the same. Like,
yeah.
so I just, so no, you're absolutely right. Like, this, oh my God. I don't know. This is needed. Like, this is needed, man. Oh my God. Andre follows up with yes, send it to HBO so we can explain to black men bodies. Boy, go somewhere. uh, dude, boy. He also says that Barclay is Tom Sass turned into ones and zeros. No, absolutely.
Right.
I love that. And even and oh, I'm so old. I can't remember if this was said explicitly or not, but I do like the idea that Tom, much like us, watched Reading Rainbow and you just attached to that voice and then made
Yeah.
that the voice of your IT best friend. Like, cause why wouldn't you? Between him and
Exactly.
Mr. Rogers, of course, it's one of
Mhm.
them. And of course I'm
Mhm.
choosing the black one. Like, so oh my God. And then here go Harry at second the Vegas prequel. Yes indeed. Yes indeed. Um Harry says it was nitrogen, not laughing gas. Look, I've had laughing gas and that shit. Woo! Okay. Andre says that first I thought that lady was Claire and wanted Tom to not complete the mission. Oh, that black woman with that 4B 4C hair. Boy, but I'm with you. If it was Claire, no.
Nope.
No. Let us suffer. um yes. Oh, and Harry, thank you. That was it. It's called the trolley problem. Who do you pick to die? That's and I couldn't remember, but I can see it vividly in my head. So yeah, that's absolutely it. Like, which one do you choose? Somebody got to die. You got to pick which one. So yeah, here go Andre. Same thing. The trolley problem. Send the train across the track where three people are tied or diverted to a track with only one person. Absolutely, and they killed it. Pun intended. They killed it with this one. So Andre says, I thought Rowan was faking as some kind of
Right.
distraction. Yep, he got us all. He got us all.
Mhm.
Also, Harry says Rowan going down seemed to foreshadow that he has some illness or something, or he was experimented on. What you
No,
think?
something is wrong because Lorraine said that the fact that he went down so easily, because she explained that they had diluted the nitrogen, so it wasn't really gonna kill him.
Yeah.
Uh, and the fact they said the fact that he still went down, there was like, that suggests that there was something else going on with his lungs like beforehand,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
takes me back to the thing I keep going back to, him talking about where he come from a place that's not all that pretty. Um, I need his backstory, not even just
Mm-hmm.
for my selfish reasons. Like
Yeah.
I need, I feel like, to really kind of flesh out his character.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree. And even with Isaac, I feel this, and not just because I like Isaac, but with the events of this episode, with him passing out on the floor, like even that, I know we get either his backstory or a episode devoted to him next episode. So I'm looking forward to that. But I want the same for Rowan for that same reason. Like, what is happening? Like, is Zenzi and Tom the only healthy people on this show? Because like
What's going on?
everybody else is going through it. Everybody. Um Andre, okay. Talking about I called the twist from the beginning. The beginning of the episode or the beginning of the season? Like,
The
you
beginning of
need to
her,
explain yourself. I
the
don't
beginning of
believe that.
he called it from the beginning of her talking when he heard her
Right.
voice.
Yes, when she opened her mouth and showed her face, that's when you believed it. Boy, get out of here. Um, um, here you go. I called who was behind it and why. Okay. Um, uh, hold up. And then here he says, Andre, you did. I don't know what y'all got going on. No.
I need the
So
proof.
Andre says, yep, she did say I'm trying to push you towards Justin. He go, oh Lord. Andre says that means that Justin is part of our salvation. Go away, friend. Go away.
but we see who actually came through.
But where's that's now? This is really going to make me mad because I get what we got and I love what we got, but like, where is Justin in all this? Like, if you fast track this trials, Squid Game initiation, where is Justin? Him and Lino been go like they just the light skinned folks just couldn't show up this episode, huh? Good lord, let them breathe. Shoot. Um, let's see. Okay, so Harry says I think what she signed was giving access to time files, data, systems, etc. Yes. No. Yeah. It was, yeah. 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 I agree. Because she had that little room with the lock on it and all that. Yeah. How she getting mind control? Yes. Okay, so Harry also says Zenzi isn't being accepted as significantly as Tom, but I hear you, but it's so weird to me because you took her in. That's what makes me I can't accept that because was it just the goodness of your aunt? Because you took in Lino too. I get that that's your biological nephew, but I would imagine you took in Zenzi. What's the timeline? Lino was about 16. Zenzi and Tom are about, she said 27 years. Alexandra would have been 27, which makes
Oh
Tom
yeah,
at least 26, 25, 26. So that's about a 9-year difference. So yeah, they would have taken in Lino 9876. They would have taken in Zenzi before Lino, because Lino was 3 when she found him. Look at me trying to do math. Dino was 3 when he
you
was
got
found on
it.
the floor. No, yeah, because I was like, okay, wait a minute. So that would put them, like I said, approximately 9 years apart. 3, 9, 12. Her parents died. They took her in. She went off to college. What that would put her about 17, 18. So that's about, yeah, I think they would have taken in Zenzi. Either way, what I'm getting at is that I can't see them differentiating Zenzi from a family member and accepting maybe Tom more because he's blood and he's like the heir of the throne and whatnot. But to take Zenzi, they didn't have to. Zenzi has family, that's my understanding. It's just the Swifts took her in and financed everything. That's an investment. Like,
True.
so I don't know. Let me stop with this.
Well, I'm with that. Go for it.
We so yeah. Andre says this episode took us to a new plateau. Come on now, my favorite show.
Yes.
Um, Harry says the lower rated early shows, I think, because there wasn't the same clear through line as episode 6. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
Um, I can see that. I do wonder if now we're going to get villain of the week going for. Like, we can't get those. This is this week cowboy episode. This is this week Darby. We can't get that going forward. Not with this shift. Like, now we all got to work together to get the Barton stuff. So,
It depends. I don't know.
okay.
I don't know.
This nigga.
So,
Andre says Justin and Tom power couple of the new world. Okay, I'm gonna
hmm
let you have that because he wasn't in this episode, but it's
we
like,
see who was.
I mean, we saw him naked. Rowan. Um, Okay, let's see. Okay, so here he says, in reference to Rowan being in, quote unquote in, it's like the Tubman didn't do deep enough background check on Rowan. I don't know. See, I don't know. Well, okay, I can see where you're coming from there. If, like you said, the groups don't know about each other.
Right.
I can see that. This next episode really gone.
Listen.
Bro, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm so excited. Um, let's see. Oh, here you go. Andre says I can't get Justin off my mind. Okay,
I'm
I know I
done
said that, but like
with
it was in context. You ain't got to bring it up. Why did she forget Zenzi Vegas mind control? Maybe. I mean, Claire doing her thing. Because how did Zenzi? You can't forget Vegas.
I think you can. Liquid mind control is how you
Hey, so maybe Tom was like, and then he put on himself, and he forgot that he put it on her. Like, I don't know.
She probably just.
Um, oh, look at that. So Andre says that TN cites the famous Jet Jackson as one of his influences. I could see that. I could see that. Come on now.
I think
Um,
he's like I saw him talking about being like I think he just turned 27, so that would track.
Come on. Lord, this show is giving us what we need. This I can't believe. Whatever. I'm just hoping and praying and hoping and wishing that this show is going to get on HBO Max or somewhere else where we can just wow the F out and
Yes.
go further. Whew. Okay. Let's do these favorites. Favorite character of this episode. Who you got? Huh?
Um, I think I'm going to give this one to Tom.
Same. Same.
Yay!
Same. He yes. That
He did his
yes.
thing.
Yes. I want to give it to Zenzi. I want to give it to Isaac. I even want to give it to Rowan, but I feel like we're going to get more of Rowan going forward. So that'll give me a chance to maybe give it to him later. But Tom, who knew
Yeah.
a show about this person it could be the favorite this episode. So Tom, it's time for me. It is. It's time for me. I dare not ask about a favorite scene because like, but what was your favorite scene?
I feel like I feel like it has to be. mm, So I feel like it has to be the confession. I feel like it kind of
Mm,
like that whole like escalation of everything. But
mm-hmm.
if I take that out, because I mean I feel like that's like on another level type deal. You feel
Right,
me?
right, absolutely.
So if I feel like if I take that out, I really did enjoy like that last little bit where Tom and them were working through escaping the room because it
Mm-hmm.
gave everybody something to do. Everybody was interacting. It showed everybody's intelligence, whatever, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think if I take the reveal out, it would have to be that.
Yeah, and I think that reveal is like the default favorite scene there. Like, so I'm
Yeah,
not even gonna pick that because I do feel like you said, that kind of takes the cake for
yeah,
all past episodes too.
yeah. The
So, um,
season.
no, truly, um, I would say everyone together in that van because
Mm,
it truly feels like the start of something that the four of them like the fantastic like they're together. This Fantastic Four. Tom is Mr. Fantastic, Zenzi is Sue Storm, Isaac would have to be Johnny Storm, and Rowan is the thing. Like there's that's them. It's them.
yeah.
So that because and I especially like when they did get together, they did that split screen that felt very like 70s where like all four of their faces was on. I just
Oh no.
it looked like a comic strip. I just yeah. So I gotta say them in the van.
Yeah,
Um.
yeah.
Oh, show rah. Okay. And then out of 10, Sassy Barclays. What are we rating this episode?
Um. Hmm. So I came in with an
Mm-hmm.
8.5.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've talked myself up to a 9. I think.
I have a 9 as well.
I
I ain't gonna hold you. I have a 9 as well. Cause I started off at 7.58, but like
Mhm.
there truly isn't out even separate of the reveal scene. There's not anything in this episode that makes me like angry because they tricked me. Well, they subverted my expectations. So everything I thought about Rowan, they did a good job at setting it up to be like, nah, you're wrong.
Right.
Even down to like you said, explaining why he went down first. Um, Zenzi was beautiful and she was on
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
think everybody was operating so well,
Yeah.
and then you get the reveal that also explains the last. Yeah, so I gotta give it a 9, and I only didn't give it a 10 because I'm like, where do we go from here? Like,
Yeah.
what else are you going? Are you going to give us an 11? Like,
Yes.
so
Like I really don't think I have any complaints about this episode.
same.
But I'm hesitant. I'm like you said, I'm hesitant to give it a 10 because like, okay, I want to see what we do moving forward.
Mm-hmm. 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 Absolutely. No, I just 9 for me. I
Yeah,
oh they did that. These
they did.
motherfuckers did that.
They did.
Yeah, so 9. So listeners, let us know, what are y'all giving this episode out of 10 sassy Barclays? What do you give this episode? Use that hashtag DTSPod. I feel like I have not said that once in this
You
episode,
haven't.
but y'all know what it is. Shit, this was so good. Use that
We were
hashtag.
talking about the episode.
Oh my god, yeah. No, we was focused like Tom this episode. Um, yeah, no, definitely a 9. And if we I'm gonna be real. If we don't get one that comes close to this when this season is over, I'm gonna go back and change this to a 10. I'm sorry, because
Valid,
that's like
valid,
at that point.
valid.
And then here go this fool, Andre, talking about, are we starting to like Tom? Right in the ninth hour? Are we finally starting to like the title character? Yo, yeah, and I'll say that I do like that his arc, it's like it's kind of quiet, because like even in the
Yeah,
times where like I was for him, the cowboy episode, like, oh, even though he's still abrasive, he's more or less stepping into the Barton role for Lino, trying to be this father figure. Even then I had critiques. Even this
yeah,
episode I had critiques, but talking it through makes me like, okay, because how you gonna yell at Zenzi for the last 5 episodes and then in the same breath say my dad has month worth of oxygen? So I don't think he's above critique, and I do think that he still probably has room to grow. But if he end
he's
up being my
growing.
favorite character, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. Um, oof. Yeah. Okay, hold on. One more. Okay, Andre says yes. The van show all of them in their element, having top having all and top having all gear. I heard that the tops had all the gear. So for this, I love Harry says I also love that what we really saw this episode was Tom solving problems. Yeah, man, he
Yes.
was assaulted
He
back
was on it.
to back to back. My God.
He was on
That
it.
was, like I said, I would have folded when they asked me pick between that girl and my friends. Kill her, get her out of here. No,
Get out of here.
not my friends. Not my friends. So yeah. Oh, I don't know. What else you got? Anything? Any final thoughts, or are we
I'm ready for the next
okay?
one. Like, is it
Look,
Tuesday
hello.
yet?
We bring Tuesday here. I'm finna set up the live tweet tonight, just so I can just hit tweet all and be done. Um, this was cool. I'm
Yeah,
enjoying the show. This, I think, was an episode we truly needed after the announcement from the last episode. Honestly,
agree. Agree.
um, and I love it. I'm happy for it. Can't wait to see what happens in episode 7, and we get more Isaac, and who doesn't want that? Like, come on. Um, so shout out to him and y'all and you, your mama and your cousin too. So please let these folks know where they can find you, support you, follow you, and all that good stuff.
Yes, you can find me at Lucis Deuce on pretty much all platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter's. Yeah, I think it'll pop up even if you go to Facebook, even though I ain't there that often. Let's talk, let's chat.
Yes,
Let's
yes.
figure out what the rest of Rowan's wardrobe looks like. Let's do that together.
Hey, hey, because that boy was,
Hmm.
you got it. You got it, fam. So those links will be in the show notes. And of course, for me, Carefree Blurred on Twitter, on TikTok, Carefree Black Nerd everywhere else. If you want to email the show, carefreeblacknerd@gmail.com, put Tom Swift or something Tom Swift related in the subject line, and maybe we'll read it on air. I don't know if it's HR appropriate or not. Let's be crazy, go wild. Yeah, just let balls to the wall. But yeah, so use the hashtag DTS Pod when you're listening to this episode, when you're watching the podcast, watch the podcast and watching Tom Swift live. Check us on those Tuesday nights. Jump into the live tweet. Save Tom Swift is the hashtag that needs to be pushed. Let these folks know what's what. And yeah, that's it. So thank y'all for tuning in. And until next time, stay carefree, stay nerdy, stay geeky. And please, 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 please stay aware of your friends' illnesses and allergic reactions so that if you're ever in this situation, you too can use an EpiPen to become part of a secret inner circle black Illuminati that will send us to space.
That's it.
Yo. All right, y'all.